Hello. If you are reading this book, it means that you have found the last surviving record of the adventures of Phineas T. Swagibrad. My name is Phineas T. Swagibrad, adventurer, explorer extraordinaire. Everyone from my hometown may have thought me a fool for leaving my home for the great unknown, but the allure of unsolved mysteries was simply too great for me. It was with a heavy heart that I left my rat-infested hovel in search of distant palaces. But once the world has been explored from top to bottom, I can finally return to my beloved family and rest in the comfort of the hard rock that I sleep on every night. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I should describe the vessel I'm exploring the world in. This spacious balloon has room for 2 passengers and a goat, should we ever choose to invite one aboard, and is bright yellow with the name Endeavour emblazoned across the front. The base is an astoundingly sturdy wicker basket, which has held up without a single visible scratch upon it. Now, how did I come across this marvel of the air, you ask? Simple. I was walking along the crest of a hill when I spotted what appeared to be a second sun. Sure that this apparition was the result of some ancient magic, I rushed towards it, only to discover that the floating orb was in fact this magnificent balloon. Seeing no one around, I climbed into the basket and found this journal here, with a few limited provisions. You may notice that this journal has a few ripped pages in the front. Those were full of writing when I got them, so I tore them out in order to make the start much less confusing. I hate it when you start reading a book thinking that it's one thing, and then it turns out shortly to be something completely different. I once read a book I thought was about porpoises that turned out to be about the purposes of different farm equipment. Very disappointing. My adventures, however, will surely not be disappointing. Already I have set off from the island I grew up on, and begun my sojourn across the seas to unexplored lands, and this is only the start of my journal. This adventure has been incredibly disappointing. I have been floating above this ocean for what feels like weeks. Based off of my rations, I think I can survive in this bleak existence for 4, maybe 5 days, but no rescue or land is in sight. If you find this journal in a crashed balloon, preserve my memory and tell my pet chinchilla that I love her. Oh? What's that? Is that a bird flying by? Perhaps it can carry a message for me. I think I see something where he came from. I think... Yes! Land! That speck on the horizon must be land! I'm saved! Day 2, Adventurer's Log. I, Phineas T. Swagibrad, am the greatest explorer in the world. This island is uninhabited and filled with ancient treasure. Gold and silver seem to have been as common to this people as mud and disappointment are to ours. There are curious glyphs upon the surface of these crumbling walls that are surely the source of untold mysteries. Who knows what secrets they hold? I have transcribed them to the best of my ability. Hopefully I shall come across someone who can translate these ancient markings. A further investigation of these ruins has revealed several artifacts previously missed with mysterious, inscrutable purposes. One is clearly some kind of weapon for war or torture, but they have left no instructions on the technique required to wield it. The remaining artifacts are much more ambiguous, but I hope to submit them to some museum or collector of the rare and wonderful. The grand adventures of yours truly, Phineas T. Swagibrad, have now taken me to my first inhabited city. Communication with the locals appears to be quite difficult, as all of them are chickens. I say that not in a derogatory way. I merely mean to describe the fact that all of the creatures that inhabit this village seem to be chickens. I shall soon make allies with these avian citizens, as they have an eye for the finer things the world has to offer. When I presented them with a mystical eye of gold, one of them, which seemed to be the leader, investigated it with a few cautious pecks. This esteemed member of their society then turned it into the main structure of their community, a shared building large enough to house all of them. Clearly, they are a war-torn people, as the structure was heavily fortified with thick wire and a massive gate that was slightly ajar during the day to allow entrance and exit to their fortress. I hope to return tomorrow and learn more of their language. Unfortunately, I was not able to learn more about this unique community. Far sooner than I would have wished, I saw what was surely the cause of their fortifications. With a loud howling and a hollering and a dramatic waving of his arms, a man running over the hillside made clear his intention to attack. Well, I would have gladly made a brave stand with the chickens. There wasn't enough room in their fortress for me to join. Wisely, all of the chickens fled for their fortifications, prepared for what would no doubt be a difficult onslaught. I shan't return here. I don't think I could bear to be witness to such carnage as they surely must have faced. I must simply maintain their memory with me on my journeys. I saw the most curious thing while travelling today. Off in the distance I saw what appeared to be a bird, but it was made of something seemingly much more solid and shinier than most feathers, and appeared to be much larger than a bird as well. It was as white as a cloud, with the exception of some weird symbols along the back of the creature. It disappeared completely from view within minutes of its appearance. I hope to find another city soon. The weird bird that I saw is the only interesting thing that has happened all day, and I have spent the entire day devising various games calculated to entertain and delight, but a lack of materials disallowed me from executing any of them, and the result was actually just an increase in boredom, as I discovered an ever-growing list of things I couldn't do in my present circumstance. This has been a disastrous day for adventuring. While coming in next to a city, an unfortunate miscalculation resulted in the sudden de-elevating of my balloon. Before I knew it, we had crashed into a tree, and my balloon swiftly deflated. Luckily, I was in a city full of skilled craftsmen. Despite my reasonable assumption that the local tanners and blacksmiths could quickly get me back in the air, with their skills and expertise, they feigned ignorance of the ways of the levitating platform, and claimed their paltry skills were no match for the task. I call rubbish. Yet they all insist that they don't know the first thing about how to repair my balloon, though they were quite impressed with the exorbitant amount of gold I presented them from that island that I visited. They maintained that they could not help me on any time frame. I was willing to be quite reasonable and wait for up to half an hour to allow them time to properly fix the mechanism, but they reiterated that they hadn't the slightest idea how to fix it, despite the many hours they all had spent honing their craft and developing their knowledge over generations, the distillation of years and decades of experience, culminating in the fine people I saw before me. They still professed that they were nothing but blibbering idiots when it came to the designs needed in this particular repair job. I fear I may be here for quite a while.